This is NTV.
Hello, it is Monday the 4th of May. You're in time for NTV Tonight. And the coronavirus is still claiming lives and people are still getting infected by the minute the world over. In Kenya, it's not over yet, and the government has today called out on those who are seemingly returning to normal. Well, to the numbers now, and within the last hour, 3,611,394 people have been infected with the virus. 250,125 people have died, and the recoveries stand at 1,171,046. On the continent, 46,551 people have been infected, 1,826 people have died, while 15,799 have recovered. And to the country with the highest number of infections in the world, the United States, 1,199,397 people have been infected. The virus has killed 69,035 people, and 15,799 people have recovered. We look at Kenya's situation after the day's top highlights.
Tonight, Kenya's virus caseload now just shy of 500 after another day of worrying numbers.
Our teams are continuing with the exercise in areas where we've identified as hotspots.
Government now escalates targeted testing. Also tonight, soaring infections and 7 deaths in Mombasa's Old Town. But residents are having none of it.
Hakuna lokufa na corona hii Old Town.
Authorities facing headwinds in rolling out mass testing in the estate.
Sisi hatutapimwa. Tupelekeni kama ni lazima. Mimi sina mgonjwa nipima nini?
Plus, the worrying trend of presumed normalcy.
Things are not back to normal.
Kenyans openly disregarding guidelines, and the government is growing impatient.
We have observed that most people are not wearing masks the proper way.
And the raging floodwaters are sweeping anything that stands in their way, while giving way to a humanitarian crisis.
Tugomba serikali tusaidie kutengeneza hii dike yetu. Fadhali kwa juu.
Umetuambia kwamba nataka watu tutoke hapa tuende kwa identified camps. Lakini tunasema kabla watu waende kule, hawezi beba watu wote mara moja.
Thanks very much for joining us. In sign language interpretation, we're joined by Flora Atieno. Now, the rising number of community infections is now becoming a major headache for the government in the effort to contain the spread of COVID-19. 25 new cases have been confirmed in the country from about 1,012 samples tested in the last 24 hours, taking the country's total tally to 490 people. Nairobi and Mombasa counties claim all the new infections, with the capital county reporting 10 new cases and Mombasa 15. All of them are Kenyan, aged between 6 months to 60 years old. 6 people have been released from treatment, bringing the total number of recoveries to 173. Well, the Ministry of Health says that quarantine centres that had been closed will be reopened to host Kenyans expected to arrive from China later in the week. Leila Mohammed has that report.
Targeted mass testing of COVID-19 in estates within Nairobi and Mombasa revealed the Ministry of Health's worst fears.
As we have witnessed, the virus is now fully within our communities and the rate of infection is not going down.
The latest figures show a rise in community infections with 25 new cases shared between Nairobi and Mombasa.
All the 25 cases are Kenyans and none of them has a history of travel. In terms of gender, 13 are males and 12 are female.
Nairobi's Eastleigh estate leads the list with 8 infections, 2 apiece in Kawangware and Umoja estates, and 1 each in Kariobangi, and 1 each in Kariobangi South, Kahawa West and Mathare. 10 cases are from Mombasa.
Since we embarked on targeted testing in certain regions, we witnessed a gradual increase in the turnout. Our teams are continuing with the exercise in areas where we've identified as hotspots.
With a 6-month-old baby, the youngest to test positive yet, the ministry says that it will also focus on children who are mostly asymptomatic carriers and might quickly spread the virus.
Limit interaction between your children and others, and also ensure that children also undertake infection prevention control measures, including hand washing, using sanitizers. There are even children's face masks now in the market locally.
The Kenya Pediatric Association, in fact, has had several engagements with us, have looked at our protocols and given specifications and considerations for children.
Scientists and researchers across the world, Kenya included, are in a hasty search for a vaccine. Though that might take a while, owing to the approval process, the ministry is urging Kenyans to be cautiously optimistic.
Kenya has received approval to join the Solidarity trial, and we have already obtained ethical approval. The compounds that we are going to deploy, of course, will depend on how available they are, how easily available they are in terms of compassionate use of the different drugs and protocols.
Remember, at the end of the day, a drug comes into your body. It does something in terms of curing, but drugs also have side effects, and therefore there has to be a rigorous protocol.
The government says that it is stepping up vigilance along all its border points and points of entry, which it believes poses a big risk. The ministry also says it is working closely with the United Nations in ensuring that refugee camps within Kenya are protected against COVID-19 infections.
Started evacuating Kenyans who are stranded all over the world, including Europe, Asia, and also Kenyans who had gone for treatment, especially in India, who are destined to come back home this week. For those, of course, we have to put in place quarantine facilities to be able to accommodate them.
Leila Mohammed, NTV.
Well, as the government escalates testing and preventative measures to contain the spread of COVID-19, another threat is emerging. That is the deniers and the naysayers. In Mombasa's Old Town, authorities are having a difficult time implementing guidelines and rolling out the mass testing exercise, as residents there claim that the virus is only a myth and does not exist. Well, this is despite 42 out of 194 tested in the last 72 hours turning out positive, while another 7 from the area have died. Kevin Mutai reports on the perils of indifference.
According to officials in the Mombasa Emergency Response Committee on Coronavirus, discussions to institute a total lockdown in Old Town area is on the table and awaiting the endorsement of the national government. This comes as 10 more cases have been confirmed in the island city.
In Mombasa, from Old Town, we have 8, Bombolulu 1 and Jomvu 1.
Health authorities are alarmed that a majority of residents are boycotting the mass screening exercise, but that might not change.
Sisi hatutapimwa. Tupelekeni kama ni lazima. Mimi sina mgonjwa nipima nini? Mambo haya utaniingiza kidole paka katika ubongo wangu. Wewe nani nikujua hivyo?
Don't joke with us. Jizuie wewe mwenyewe. Na wale wamezuia ambulance kama wako mtaani waambie waingie mitini tuenda kuwafuata. Na sometimes zinaweza tasi tume polisi ni wafuate mwenyewe, my friend. How do you stop an ambulance Wewe ni mwenda wazimu kiasi gani wewe? Ati kifua una kifua kuliko serikali.
The Ministry of Health says that 158 people in Mombasa have contracted the virus and that 7 from Old Town have died. But here, some still believe that the virus does not exist and are accusing the government of exaggerating the impact of the virus in Mombasa.
Wazee wetu ambao wanakufa ni wazee walikuwa wagonjwa kuanzia miaka hizo, wako vitandani. Hakuna alokufa na corona hii Old Town.
Most of the residents say they are boycotting mass testing exercise because of the cost implications involved if they turn out positive and have to be taken for quarantine.
Kupimwa si wasiwasi, kupimwa watu wasema waogopa wakienda quarantine walipishwa pesa na watu hawana pesa. Kama Old Town ndio unaona kuna pesa, hakuna pesa Old Town.
Usiogope kuwa positive. Ukiwa positive tutakuchukua, tukusaidie, tukupatie matibabu, upone haraka urudi katika jamii yako.
Public health officers say that they can allow people to quarantine in their houses after conducting thorough inspection to verify the safety of other members of the family.
Hawajaelewa kwamba hii corona sio ile malaria tumezoea, sio ile cholera tumezoea. Hii ni mnyama mwingine. And it can wipe out everybody. Everybody. Msijidanganye ati vijana hawafanyii kitu. Kuna hapa watu wamefariki wako na miaka 30s.
Health officers have also started mass testing in Likoni a day after one person tested positive for the coronavirus. Officials within the Department of Health say that the area of concern is Shika Adabu.
Tulikuwa tunataraji tupime watu 500 hapa leo, lakini ninavyoona itapita hiyo nambari.
Kevin Mutai, NTV, Mombasa.
Things are not back to normal, is the message from the government to a people who are seemingly back to normal in their way of doing business. Despite a rise in community infections, some residents of Nairobi and Mombasa have turned a deaf ear on the danger that still looms. Zainab Ismail with a spot check of the state of the capital.
The country has separated into two camps: the rule followers, who are observant of social distancing and are hopeful of flattening the curve, and the risk takers.
Like these ones here in Kariobangi, Kwa Chief area in Nairobi. The risk of contracting the coronavirus is not their topmost priority, as their houses were demolished by the county government Monday morning. They are trying to salvage as much as they can. The county government could not have picked a better time to demolish the houses, a court order notwithstanding. For others here, it was an opportune time to grab construction material in the hope of fetching some extra coins. No mask, no worry. Kariobangi confirmed one case in the latest batch of samples tested.
Despite the constant reminders why social distancing will help curb the spread of COVID-19, it is business as usual in most parts of Nairobi County.
In Kibra, life is also back to normal. You might mistake this for a political rally. The residents here are attending the burial of a journalist who was brutally murdered the previous night. Only a handful are wearing masks, many draping the masks under their chin. In the central business district, the normal Nairobi traffic has resumed. Although most people here are adhering to the face mask directive, there is very little social distancing.
Unajua hata saa hii tuseme nimekaa kwa nyumba. Sioni hata niamke nitafuta hata kama nitapata ya siku. Hata kama hii ugonjwa wa corona unajua hata tunakaa kwa gari hata kama venye tuko na hivi siwezi jua kama uko na ugonjwa. Unaona? Na hata ukikaa huko kwa kijiji bado unaweza pata hii ugonjwa.
The government is now grappling with the community transmission, raising concern of a return to normalcy, especially in Nairobi.
Over the past 3 days, we've been announcing figures in terms of double digits. Yesterday was 30, the day before was around 20, and today is 25. And I hazard to say that this figure will continue to increase. So what we're trying to say is things have not gone back to normal. So we still need to maintain these containment measures. They're not for fun, they're not for play, it's not child's play. Things are not back to normal. In hotels, we've done spot checks over the weekend. Just yesterday, there's crowding in hotels. People lining up, people banding together near cashiers. Things are not back to normal. And we need to remind ourselves of the pictures we were seeing in February and March across the world and ask ourselves, do we really think or do we really want Kenya to have that experience? And if we don't, then you as a citizen, you have responsibility.
Targeted testing has shown the disease is firmly within the community, which means those in the low-income areas are the most vulnerable. Zainab Ismail, NTV.
Well, as she said there, as a citizen, it is your responsibility to adhere to those rules that will really only save you and our fellow countrymen. Wash your hands and social distance, and only go out if you need to, but please be safe. And to add to the challenges, a combination of unions of health workers in the country have issued a 14-day strike notice demanding the harmonization of terms of employment, failure to which they will down their tools on the 18th of May. The government, however, says it is aware of the concerns being raised by the frontline workers and will respond to their pleas.
The provocation that has been occasioned by the Ministry of Health to promote one kata and leave the rest of us out is, we cannot fathom it. Is unfathomed. We can't fathom it.
Teams are looking to see and to ensure that all health cadres are able to get a welfare package that meets the kind of risks that they're putting themselves into. And it's important to note, and we highly recognize in the Ministry of Health, that we have 17 cadres, and all these cadres all come together magically to take care of us. And so there's no favoritism for any one specific cadre, and all cadres who are working as a team will be able to be facilitated with a welfare package.
Pressure is mounting on Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe to suspend staff involved in the alleged multi-million shilling COVID-19 funds scandal. The Kenya National Union of Nurses Secretary General Seth Panyako says that alleged misuse of funds by the ministry is not only shocking but outrageous. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission is also warning governors of consequences should they misuse funds dispersed to counties. NTV's Silas Apollo reports.
As the fight against the coronavirus gains momentum with the launch of the ongoing mass testing, criticism is now piling on the Health Ministry of allegations of misuse of funds. The Kenya National Union of Nurses Secretary General Seth Panyako wants the Health CS Mutahi Kagwe to suspend officials said to have been involved in the alleged misappropriation of the funds, which he says was not only scandalous and criminal, but also unethical.
When we say we don't have personal protective equipment, and then in Afi House someone is taking tea worth 89,000 per day, when hii chai inatoka mbinguni na chartered flight, how can you transfer, redeploy people? You are saying they have misappropriated funds. They are supposed to remain in the ministry, investigate them. If they are found guilty, let them face the full force of the law.
Documents tabled before Parliament shows that the ministry has so far spent 1.3 billion shillings in the fight against the virus. According to the numbers, some 42 million shillings went to the leasing of ambulances, 4 million shillings for tea and snacks, and another 2 million shillings for airtime. The funds are part of the 1 billion shillings donated by the World Bank to aid Kenya's response. Part of the money was to be used in the purchase of medicine, personal protective equipment, as well as the setting up of isolation facilities. Kagwe has, however, defended his ministry, insisting that those found culpable will face the full force of the law.
If indeed there is one, we will not be spared. And I meant it, and I mean it, even now.
County governments have not been spared either. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission say it will pay a keen eye on the use of funds sent to counties for response, which some governors have been accused of misappropriating.
We are focusing on the prioritization of needs. We are focusing on the procurement processes. We are focusing on issues to deal with conflict of interest. And we are telling them that they must account for all the money that they have been given as a result of the campaign against this pandemic.
The anti-graft agency is already investigating the Bungoma County government of a misuse of the COVID-19 response funds. County officials have been accused of blotting the cost of purchases. Silas Apollo, NTV.
Now, back to our coverage of people returning to some form of normalcy. One of the areas where there is a seeming return to normalcy, despite the rise in cases of infections, is Kenya's borders and points of entry. Of great concern is the Kenya-Tanzania border, where activities are largely going on uninterrupted and without enforcement of the control measures. And this comes just a day after 2 cases were reported in Migori County, which borders the 2 countries. NTV's Bernard Ojwang reports that residents are now calling for tightening of border controls.
This is Hispania town at the border of Kenya and Tanzania. On a usual day, these streets will be busy with traders from the 2 countries going about their business. But with Migori having joined the list of counties that report cases of COVID-19, the streets are now deserted.
Tuko na shida kabisa. Sasa tungeomba kama serikali ingewezekana, ingeweza kukalisha, ingepita nyumba kwa nyumba ili wapime wale watu wenye wako na hiyo ugonjwa. Na kama wangepatikana wawekwe kwa sehemu moja ili serikali tufungulie.
Imeathiri biashara kwa njia nyingi, kwa maana mara nyingi biashara inafanywa penye kuna watu wengi. Kwa maana watu ndio biashara. Pasipo na watu hakuna biashara. Ununuzi unafanywa na watu. Na sasa kama watu wametawanyika, watu wengi wapatikane kwenye masoko, watu wapatikana kwenye maduka, watu wanakuja kwa woga.
Authorities here are concerned about the potential of cross-border infections.
A few notorious people who also hold dual citizenship. When they are in Tanzania, they display the ID for that area or the card for that area. And when they are on the Kenyan soil, they also display our national identity card. So such notorious characters also give us a hell of time. Because when you get them on this side, they tell you, okay, mimi ni Mkenya. O akipatikana pande ile ingine anasema, oh, mimi ni Mtanzania. So that kind of behavior is rampant, not only on the courier side, but along our common border.
Sasa tuna wasiwasi kubwa sana. Kuna wasiwasi kubwa kwa sababu saa hii hapa tuwezi jua Mtanzania ni nani na Mkenya ni nani. Utamjua tu Mtanzania kwa sababu hana max. Lakini kwa sababu kwao huko sio shida sana. Lakini kufika kwao hapa wanafika. Hata wengine wameamua wanapita na chakula, wanadagaa, kwa mabaisikeli wanauza. Wanaenda hata Migori.
Following the confirmation of the 2 cases over the weekend, Migori County government is now tracing persons who might have come into contact with the patients.
My team is already in the fields, and the homes or the families that interacted with those 2 guys, they have been taken for quarantine, and more contact tracing is being done to ensure that we capture as many people as possible.
In the meantime, the residents now want non-Kenyans blocked from entering the country from Tanzania, which has reported slightly under 500 cases and the border closed.
Tukitaka kwenda Tanzania, serikali ya Tanzania inatukazia, lakini serikali ya Kenya, sisi wenyewe wakiingia hapa, hatuoni kama serikali ya Kenya inawakazia. Kwa hiyo sasa imeleta uhusiano sio mzuri katika biashara.
Watu wa Tanzania wakae kwa muda na sisi tukae kwetu kwa muda.
Watu wa Tanzania bado hawajajali hii maneno na hawajakubaliana na hii maneno ya corona. Bado anaona kama haina sio ugonjwa inaweza ua mtu. Na tunaona mafundi kutoka Tanzania, wale wasichana wanayofanya kazi hapa Kenya na ni wa Tanzania, wanaenda kulala Tanzania, alafu baadaye anarudi kutembea hapa Kenya, na tunaona yuko na shida kubwa sana.
Tarime, another town 20 kilometers from Hispania border, has reported 4 cases. The border has been open and truck drivers, business people and motorbike operators have been crossing the border with ease and without any preventive measures in place. Several kilometers in Namanga border in Kajiado County, movements at the Kenya-Tanzania border post continues. Here only motorists are being checked, while those on foot, nothing has changed. Residents here are now a worried lot. Well, according to locals, in case the security personnel will not intensify the patrols along the porous borders and arrest those people entering the country illegally and put them into forceful quarantine, then the fight against COVID-19 will be in vain.
Na watu kama hao mamaid, kuna mafundi na kuna hao walevi wetu wanaenda Tanzania wanarudi. So hiyo kategori tatu ndio tulikuwa tunataka serikali itilie maanani. Na tulikuwa tumepatia serikali makataa ya siku 7. Wasipozingatia, unajua afya ni sisi ndio tunaadhirika watu wa kwanza.
Bernard Ojwang, NTV.
Now tonight, yet another case of alleged excessive force by police officers has led to the death of another Kenyan. Vitalis Owino, a casual labourer from Malaria slums in Nairobi, was last evening reportedly beaten to death by police officers after being caught out in the streets after curfew hours. Vitalis was reportedly returning home at around 7:30. That's just 30 minutes after the curfew, after rushing his wife to hospital. Gina Kirori was in Mathare, where residents are holding protests.
When Vitalis Owino walked past this road to take his ailing wife to the nearby Baraka hospital, he would have hardly predicted that this would be his last time. The walk back from the hospital was cut short. Vitalis was caught outside the curfew hours at around 7:30 p.m. An argument reportedly ensued between him and police officers patrolling the area, which ended in him being beaten to death. His body was then discovered by residents in the wee hours of the morning.
Though mimi ni neighbor na ile happen kama naona ilibidi hadi saidia. Unaona? Vitu kama hizo. Lakini mimi naona kama serikali inatudhulumu kwanza polisi kwa historia ya corona na curfew. So in case saizi mtu apatikane nje ama akufe ama uliwe, watasema ni curfew, corona.
The sudden loss has robbed his family of not just a husband, but a father to 4 children. His wife Esther Acheng was inconsolable after the incident. Vitalis's lifeless body lay on this road for hours on end before police officers came to collect it. They were, however, stopped by irate residents who are demanding justice. This mkokoteni, we are told, was used as a hearse to ferry Vitalis's body to the police station with only a bedsheet covering him. Police say they are investigating the matter, but this did not deter the residents from holding protests over his death along the Thika superhighway.
Despite concerns from the public about police brutality, Vitalis Owino's death adds to the growing statistics of those killed for flouting curfew rules. The late casual laborer's crime of being caught outside, which would have seen him being put in a cell, has now seen him being put in a coffin. Gina Kirori, NTV.
Now, every passing day of the coronavirus pandemic is eating into the 2020 school calendar. The government remains adamant that learners will recover lost time and that the end-year examinations will go on as planned. But how practical is this, given that some learners are covering the syllabus through digital aids, while a majority are lagging behind? This week on Team Coverage Wednesday, we look at the looming calendar headache and the pleas of the candidates on classes in crisis. Take a look.
We have suspended learning.
The government has not decided to postpone the national examinations.
Tujamaliza syllabus hii.
Serikali iharakisha tufungue hata kama ni kidato cha 4 kiende shuleni.
Itakuwa hatari kubwa kupeleka watoto shuleni tukihofia kwamba syllabus wako nyuma.
Leo tutasoma Kiswahili.
The children have continued with their calendar of education.
Sisi kama huko hivi Islamu huko hatuna kitu. Unaweza pata nyumba moja ndio kuna TV kwa plot.
Watoto sasa hata tuwafuatilia aje? Mtoto hajakunywa hata chai, hajakula hata chochote. Hata ukimwekea kitabu hapa ataona.
It's very easy to see the crisis in health compared to see the crisis in education.
It's 25 past the hour. Time for a breather on NTV tonight. There's more when we return. Stay with us.
The risk of illness-causing germs is increasing. It is believed that the coronavirus can remain on surfaces in your home for up to 9 days. Touching infected surfaces is one of the ways in which germs spread. Regularly disinfect your floors, countertops, and kitchen surfaces with bleach, and use an effective toilet cleaner inside and outside your toilet bowl. This message is brought to you by Medifact, JIG, and Harpic.
What do you see on the horizon? They say how you start your decade will determine how the rest of it will be. Imagine a decade full of opportunities, investment being one of them. Do you want a place to feed your mind, body and soul? A place to unwind every day, where you can get your health and fitness goals attained? A secure place for your family? A center for quality academic goals for your kids? Or perhaps a place to connect with your friends? Well, you can get all this and more at Amani Ridge, the place of peace, just 20 kilometers from the CBD. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optivan.co.ke.
Na nikirudi huko umemaliza. Can you tell Kinyanjui to come to my office? Clean up! Kinyanjui, this is a problem, eh? Next time, uende ununue selector yako, utengeneze sandwich zako, uachane na sandwich za boss.
Selector. The difference is in the taste. And now, Selector comes with free Zesta jam for a limited period of time.
Dettol's main objective is to help children protect themselves from diseases. Do you know how we get illnesses like diarrhea, cough, and cold? No! They are spread through germs on your hands. Your hands collect germs that causes diseases. You pick up germs from any surface, like when you don't wash your hands after going to the toilet, while playing. And then you can get sick because of germs. That's why you need to fight germs to stay healthy by washing your hands regularly with Dettol soap that gives the best germ protection ever against many illness-causing germs.
Wash, wash, wash your hands. What you have to do is bath, bath, bath yourself. Dettol soap every day. Wash, wash, wash your hands.
Welcome back. Now, the fight against malaria appears to have inched a lot closer to be won after scientists in Kenya and the United Kingdom discovered a microbe that completely protects mosquitoes from being infected with the disease. Now, this latest development has been described by the researchers as having, quote, enormous potential to control malaria, which kills more than 10,000 people in Kenya each year. Oko Okusa with that report.
According to Dr. Jeremy Herren from the International Center of Insect Physiology and Ecology, ICIPE, the data collected so far suggests 100% blockage. Dr. Herren is quoted in a media report saying that the discovery is quite a surprise and a real big breakthrough. The headway comes at a time when more than 400,000 people globally die of malaria every year, most of them children under the age of 5.
Nationally, malaria prevalence stands at 8%, with Nyanza region having the highest levels at 27%.
Malaria is spread by the bite of an infected mosquito, and therefore protecting the mosquitoes could in turn protect human beings. The malaria-blocking bug known as Microsporidia, MB, was unearthed by studying mosquitoes living on the shores of Lake Victoria. The bug lives in the stomach and genitals of the insects. The scientists are still researching on whether to release infected mosquitoes into the wild or use spores to subdue the disease. They also plan to conduct additional tests in Kenya to understand how the microbe spreads. This discovery comes at a time when the country is in the process of implementing a 62 billion shillings malaria strategy 2019-2023 that singled out prevention, prompt diagnosis, treatment, and malarial surveillance as core intervention areas.
Our ultimate goal is to reduce malaria causes two things, either the sickness or death. And therefore we want to reduce both by 75% of the 2016 level.
Whereas remarkable progress has been registered through the use of bed nets and indoor residual spraying, there is a general feeling that new tools need to be employed to annihilate malaria. Okukusa, NTV.
Police in Khalifa have arrested 21 suspects in connection with the Sunday night killing of a policeman in Rabai sub-county. Khalifa County Police Commander James Mugera says the policeman, who was in the company of his colleague, was attacked by a gang of unknown people armed with machetes and other crude weapons on Sunday evening. The county commander said the deceased, that's Kelvin Kiragu, was carrying evidence when he was attacked from behind by unknown people believed to be accomplices of a suspect whom they were taking to the police station. One G3 rifle was also stolen from the police during the incident.
During the incident, we also lost the firearm. A number of suspects have been arrested and are assisting us in investigations. And at this point in time, I can confirm that we have got very useful leads. And it is just a matter of time before we get the main suspects.
The family of a Kibra-based journalist who was allegedly killed by unknown assailants are demanding justice for their late kin. Mohammed Marjan, a radio presenter at Pamoja FM, was found dead with a stab wound at 5 a.m. Monday morning. The body was discovered near the Kibra law courts, and it is said that he was headed to work when he was killed. The murder has devastated the family, which is now calling on the police to speed up investigations to bring the killers to book. In a post seen on social media, the sister of the deceased questions why her brother, whom was described as an innocent man, was killed in cold blood. His friends, colleagues and associates say that he was an active member of the Kibra Community Policing Committee.
Sikujua kitu ile ilitendeka. Kwanza mimi nilijua ni gari. Nikaanza tu kulia ni gari. Sasa ndio nikaenda kwa kukimbia na nyuma nikiita madada zake, ndio wakaenda kupata ni kisu, ndio wamemdunga huko. Kazini station ya Pamoja FM.
Well, may justice be served. Hospitals and over hundreds of homes have been affected by the increasing water levels of Lake Baringo. Ruth Samwe has our floods update.
More than 600 households have been affected by floodwaters following the rapid increase of water levels in Lake Baringo. Coco Island, one of 7 in Lake Baringo, has been cut right in the middle, cutting off essential facilities such as hospitals. Residents have been forced to wade through the water in canoes in an effort to rescue their property. They are now seeking help from authorities.
Ungependa tu kama serikali wakuje watusaidie na waokoe wananchi, kwa sababu imekuwa sasa ni jambo ambayo imekuwa ngumu.
Mnaangalia mashule yote ya James Ward yote iko kwa maji. Watu wanaambiwa muende higher ground. Higher grounds ndio ingekuwa hapa. Ndio maji inasukuma watu tena kwenda milima. So langu tu ni appeal humanitarian assistance.
In Turkana, at least 6 people are reported to have died after being washed away by floodwaters of Kawalase seasonal river. Police are still searching for one missing body and the wreckage of the Land Cruiser they were riding in.
Ile ambayo inajengwa hapo hivyo imechukua muda, ambapo sisi ambao watu hapa hivi hatufurahi, contractor hata hatuoni.
In Kakamega County, motorists and residents were left stranded after police officers blocked the bridge that connects Mayoni and Mumias towns. Parts of the bridge has been eaten away by the swelling waters of River Nzoia. Although the police are selectively allowing the vehicles to pass through, motorists traveling from Bungoma to Busia counties have been advised to seek alternative routes. In Busia County, residents of Budalangi have been camping in temporary shelters as they wait for the flood waters to subside. The residents obliged to apply by authorities to move to higher grounds even though they fear losing their property.
Tugomba serikali tusaidie kutengeneza hii dike yetu. Fadhali ikuwe juu kidogo. Hapo shida ikitokea kama hii tunaweza kimbilia mahali kama hapa.
Mheshimiwa ametuambia kwamba anataka watu tutoke hapa tuende kwa identified camps. Lakini tunasema kabla watu waende kule, hawezi beba watu wote mara moja, tuko wengi. Tunataka tupewe angalau some mobile latrines ambazo zitasavu watu kabla watu wote wajaenda kule.
In Machakos County, over 100 families in Matungulu have been left stranded after their homes were destroyed by floods. They have now been forced to seek shelter in neighboring areas. They are asking authorities to help by building of temporary shelters and their homes. And in West Pokot, transport has been disrupted at Lumut-Chesogon Road after a bridge was washed away, forcing commuters to seek alternative routes. This comes 2 weeks after a landslide left several dead and thousands others displaced in Elgeyo Marakwet and Pokot border. Ruth Sarmoi, NTV.
Elsewhere, the outgoing Chief of Defence Forces, General Samson Mathede, was at the Mtongwe barracks today for one last time as a sailor before he officially retires from the forces. Mathede was in the company of incoming CDF General Robert Kariuki Kibochi as he familiarizes himself with part of the KDF that he will be leading beginning May 11th when he officially takes over. General Robert Kibochi is taking over at a time when the United Nations is preparing for the exit of AMISOM troops from Somalia, with a deadline of 2021 for the Somali army to be able to take care of the scrutiny of their country. Before officially leaving office in a ceremony later this week, Mathede will take a final tour with his predecessor to various barracks across the country. Before we take a quick breather, as COVID-19 ravages the world, Kenyan researchers participating in an international study are seeking approvals from 2 agencies to test the efficacy of 3 drugs on Kenyans. In your Daily Nation tomorrow, read the details of the study, plus how the disease is manifesting itself in Kenyan patients and why it's not only the elderly who are dying of it. Don't miss your copy. All right, those stories and more coming up in the Daily Nation tomorrow. Be sure to grab your copy. Stay with us. There's more coming up on the other side. I will have the business news for you.
Disinfect and protect your home with Jik. Jik kills 99.9% of illness-causing germs. Disinfect floors, kitchen and bathroom surfaces, and wash white clothes, towels and dishcloths with Jik bleach. Just Jik it.
Birthday party.
Birthday party. Birthday party.
Birthday party.
Are we not invited?
We have gifts.
Malaria.
Mommy, best.
Run.
Oh, die.
Party.
Compared to an ordinary spray, Mortein Doom Power Guard kills disease-causing pests instantly. Mortein Doom Power Guard.
Welcome to the conferencing service.
Emma! Carry on, Ken.
First quarter sales, they're up 90%.
Very good. Very good.
We are looking at a 55 billion shilling profit by the end of the financial year.
Now we are talking. Here we talk billions. Very good. I gotta go. Wacha niendelee na kazi.
A person has left the conference.
Niko nyumbani. Downloads are very fast. Streaming, eco. And I'm just working from here. Stay connected and work from the convenience of wherever you are. Fiber to the home.
Working from home? No problem. Fiber Home has you covered with the fastest and most reliable internet speeds. Get connected today. Kazi lazima iendelee.
NTV Business News in association with KCB Internet Banking.
Welcome back to the business news now. The government has formally launched the Kazi Mtaani program, through which it seeks to create employment opportunities for 26,000 Kenyans. The program, spearheaded by the State Department of Housing and Urban Development, is geared at integrating jobless Kenyans in urban hygiene and sanitation works across 23 informal settlements. The program provides opportunities for citizens above the age of 18, provided they reside in the target informal settlements. Enlisted workers are earning a daily wage and undertaking duties such as access paths and street cleaning, fumigation and disinfection, garbage collection, bush clearance and drainage unclogging services.
Already started distributing water to all the slums free of charge every day, and that exercise took off the same week that I took over office. We have also started a comprehensive plan on garbage collection using the National Youth Trucks.
In terms of prevention, be assured that these two water bosses will make a very big difference in terms of limiting the transmission of the virus.
Up to 50% of the total loans secured from commercial banks could be due for some form of restructuring if the economy continues taking a hit from the COVID-19 pandemic. This is according to the Group Managing Director of NCBA Bank, that's John Gashora, who says that as of mid-April 2020, a total of about 20,000 applications had been received within the entire banking sector for loan restructuring. Gashora says the situation is bound to deteriorate as more Kenyans lose their sources of income due to an adverse business environment.
In the banking sector, 20,000 applications for loan restructuring. That was 2 weeks ago. My estimation today, we are about 50,000 applications for restructurings. In terms of the quantum, 2 weeks ago was about 150 billion shillings worth of loans. Today, I would estimate that number to be somewhere closer to 500 billion.
Elsewhere, a section of tea farmers in Muranga have opposed some of the regulations by the Ministry of Agriculture, saying they will limit their proceeds. The growers affiliated to the Kanyenani, Gatunguru and Githambo tea factories said that they are not comfortable with regulations issued by Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya, terming them as unrealistic. The farmers say the regulations will affect them directly as they will be required to enter into a renewable 2-year contract on a supply of green leaf with factories. The growers further say the government failed to invite farmers to give their views before issuing the regulations. The government, they said, should assist the farmers to explore for better overseas markets for their produce to facilitate better returns to match with cost of living.
Mzigo ingine ya ati pakadio tunalipa kampani zake tatakuja na sekretarieti yake yote, mambo ya mawakili, mambo ya hao wote, hiyo ni gharama tena itaongezewa kwa mkulima.
Majani ambayo tunauza saa hii, kwa mfano huko Mombasa ni majani ya Februari. Je, niulize tuko Mei, itakuwa mkulima atakuwa anangojea Februari, March, April, May, miezi hiyo bila kulipwa ama itaendaje?
Hii sheria hatujui kama itatusaidia kwa sababu hatujasoma. Kwa hivyo sisi tunaomba kama wakulima tuletewe hiyo sheria tusome tujue ni namna gani.
Coconut farmers in Khalifa County are now staring at losses following what they term as a delay by the county government to purchase their produce. The farmers say the county government is now focused on combating the spread of COVID-19, something which has left them ignored. The county government, however, says that supporting coconut farmers remains part of its priority poverty alleviation actions and that the requisite budget has been set aside to purchase produce from farmers.
Tumeona miti mingi za mnazi zimeanza kukufa, zingine zinakatika kule juu, zingine zinakosa kuzaa vizuri, na tukaona kwamba mbali na kwamba umetusomesha, ni vizuri kwamba huu mnazi usiweze kupotea katika eneo hili la huku pwani.
Kwamba county itanunulia wakulima wao kwa sababu ya ukame uliopita, na nikaitengeneza mingi zaidi ya wakati huo, ili kwamba nikijua nitatengeneza faida mzuri. Kwa sababu hii ndio kazi inayonisimamisha sahihi kwa kupata maisha yangu. Na
we have budgeted for 30,000 seedlings of coconut, but this shall just be indigenous one because the current tree crop cover for coconut in Khalifa County is becoming small, so we are putting more efforts so that we can be able to increase the coverage so that we can have more coconuts being planted in the whole area of Khalifa County.
All right, and reports just in at the moment that we are getting is that African Express, that's an aircraft with 2 Kenyan pilots for Somali passengers, has been rather shot down in Baidoa Airport in Somalia, and all aboard have been killed. That's the report that we are getting, but we are yet to verify all the details, and as and when we do, we'll bring you the very latest. And before we take a breather now, here is a look at what you can expect in your copy of the Business Daily tomorrow. Judges and members of parliament will lose about 1.6 billion shillings in perks in the 4 months up to June after restrictions imposed to curb the spread of the coronavirus, suspended meetings and non-essential court sessions. For this and of course more news, get your copy of the Business Daily tomorrow. All right, that's a check of your business news. More when we return. Don't go far.
NTV Business News in association with KCB Internet Banking.
We can always talk about your account online whenever you like.
Register at your nearest branch for KCB Internet Banking today.
Wajua wanasema food has memory, and those who nourish you are never forgotten. Unakumbuka the auntie who made sure you shibat? We jamaa wa nyama, ule anakuwekea nyama poa ya choma. The dere, happy to share your takeaway. Na huyo mama wa chai, ule ana warm your lunch before you ata uliza. Your mama mboga, ule anakuongezea ata nyanya. Ule waiter kusava haraka haraka. Na ule mandazi lady, ule anakuwekea ndao moja ya baadaye. Na your boda boda rider, ule jamaa kufikisha haraka haraka. Now this is the time to let them know they are not forgotten. This is the time to make sure every table in Kenya has food on it. The points on your phone can be food in their home. When you sit with a plate of food today, pledge to stand for someone who has put food before you. Dial *126# to transfer your bonga points now so they can buy food and necessities at any outlet with a Lipa na M-Pesa till.
Safaricom is for you.
Selena! Toto, where's mommy?
Today's a toilet day.
What? Oh.
Selena!
Toilet day?
Tomorrow we're hosting a party and it's a matter of my reputation.
It's a toilet, not a white shirt. Even if you spend your entire day cleaning with bleach and detergent, it still won't be party ready.
Impossible.
Challenge. Harpic 10X. Even if you use bleach and detergent 10 times, they won't give you the same sparkling clean toilet that Harpic 10X will give you.
Wow!
Harpic 10X. Harpic, Kenya's #1 toilet cleaner.
Welcome back. South Africans who have been queuing since the early morning to obtain their social grants angrily demanded that the South African Social Security Agency opens its offices. South Africa has started to gradually ease its strict coronavirus lockdown. South Africa has spent 5 weeks under coronavirus restrictions, requiring most of the population to stay at home apart from essential trips, leaving many businesses and individuals struggling without income in the recession-hit economy. There are now more than over 42,500 confirmed cases of the coronavirus across the continent, with more than 6,000 cases and 131 deaths. Several countries in Europe began the first phase of lifting their lockdowns, affecting millions of people. Swiss parliamentarians who broke off work in March over the new coronavirus gathered Monday in a large exhibition hall for a special session to discuss the best way forward in the pandemic. Opening the session in Bern, only the fourth in history to be held outside Switzerland's stately parliament building, the president acknowledged that the country was living through, quote, an unprecedented crisis, and urged MPs to get back to work. And the Hong Kong International Airport has provided a glimpse of what the future of air travel might look like, introducing cleaning robots, antimicrobial coatings on surfaces, and a disinfection booth for passengers. The busy Asian airport claims it is the first in the world to trial a live operation of clean tech designed to disinfect travelers from head to toe. The process sees travelers have their temperatures checked before stepping into a small booth to then be disinfected and sanitized for 40 seconds. The interior of the booth has an antimicrobial coating which can remotely kill viruses and bacteria on human bodies and clothing using a photocatalyst technology and nano needles. All right, well, we'll have to wait and see. For now, another break. Brian Otwell has the sports news when we return.
Have you shared your bongo points with someone who needs them? Remember to help a friend or anyone in need to buy food using your bongo points. Stay at home, but still stay together with your loved ones and friends using bonga points. Share your story or video of how you've helped a fellow Kenyan to our FB page NTV Kenya, Twitter page at NTV Kenya, Instagram at NTV Kenya, SMS 20686 or our WhatsApp number 0745 925 002.
Breastfeeding ruins the shape of your breasts. This myth is false. Feeding your baby at night makes breastfeeding easier. Yes, this is true. Small breasts can't produce enough milk. This myth is false.
Kiss Kids diapers. Kiss Kids, no rashes. Kiss Kids, no rashes.
Bye-bye, rashes. Buy diapers. Choose Kiss Kit.
Welcome home to Amani Ridge, the place of peace. Your own urban sanctuary. A lifestyle waiting for you just 20 kilometers from the CBD. A place to unwind and get your health and fitness goals attained. A secure place for your family. A place for your children to have fun. A place to enjoy a sundowner. Success just doesn't happen. You have to make it happen. Make the impossible possible. Invest in Amani Ridge, the place of peace. Luxury you can afford. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optivan.co.ke.
Let's have a look at the day's sports news. Welcome, my name is Brian Otwal. 3 days after declaring Gor Mahia as the Kenyan Premier League champions for the 2019-2020 season, Football Kenya Federation (FKF) has officially submitted their name for the CAF Champions League next season. The federation confirmed last Thursday they had ended the top flight owing to the coronavirus pandemic and declared Kogalo the champions for the 4th season in a row, and also promoted Nairobi City Stars and Bidco United from the National Super League, that is NSL. The move by FKF has, however, been protested by several stakeholders, including clubs, most notably Kakamega Homeboys, who are sitting second behind Gor Mahia in the 17-team league table. Deliberations are, however, still ongoing on how to determine who will represent Kenya at the CAF Confederation Cup, that is next season, and Gor Mahia will be returning to the continent for the 4th season in a row. And to some football leagues updates, Cristiano Ronaldo has been recalled from Portugal as Serie A clubs get back to individual training after a 2-month coronavirus lockdown. But doubts remain over whether the championship can return. The Interior Ministries go ahead for players to return to club training facilities 2 weeks ahead of the schedule has offered fans hope that the 2019-2020 season might yet be saved. Meanwhile, La Liga announced it planned to restart the Spanish League campaign in June after more than 2 months without games due to the coronavirus pandemic. And in Germany, there have been 10 positive tests for coronavirus among players and backroom staff across the 36 clubs in the top 2 divisions of the German Football League, that is DFL. The DFL hopes to restart the season later this month, and this after Belgian Pro League announced that it had postponed for the 3rd time a meeting which will decide whether they end the season because of the coronavirus pandemic. And Argentine football legend Diego Maradona has asked the hand of God to deliver the world from the coronavirus pandemic and allow normal life to resume. The World Cup winner referred to his hand-assisted goal in the 1986 World Cup after Argentine football chiefs voted to end the current season as well as suspend relegation, saving Maradona-managed bottom club Gimnasia from the drop. Then Argentine captain Maradona responded to the controversy over his goal at the World Cup in Mexico by saying it was the hand of God. Argentina went on to beat England 2-1 in the quarterfinal, and Argentina has been in lockdown since March 20th against the coronavirus, which by early Wednesday had infected 4,114 people with 207 deaths. And Dutch national coach Ronald Koeman required hospital treatment after suffering a heart problem, and the 57-year-old underwent a cardiac catheterization procedure at a hospital in Amsterdam after complaining of feeling unwell at his home. Koeman, who has coached the Dutch side since 2018, is expected to be discharged from hospital later this evening. And Koeman, a standout defender at Ajax, PSV, Feyenoord, and Barcelona, as well as a Dutch team in his playing career, had already qualified for the Netherlands for the Euro 2020. However, the tournament has been pushed back to 2021 due to the coronavirus. And former Manchester United striker Andy Cole has started a research fund to help improve kidney transplants and patient well-being following his own battle against kidney failure. Cole, who won multiple trophies under Alex Ferguson at Old Trafford, suffered kidney failure in 2015 after picking up a virus while on tour in Vietnam as a United Club ambassador. He had a life-saving transplant 3 years ago, with his nephew providing the donor kidney. The 48-year-old currently is in isolation due to the coronavirus and wants to help others through the Andy Cole Fund run by Kidney Research UK, focusing on research into improving kidney transplants and patient well-being. That's all we had for you from our sports desk. We play again tomorrow. Have a lovely night. My name is Brian Otwal. Back to you, Smriti.
Brian, thank you. Well, that's where we leave it on NTV tonight. It is 10 o'clock. Thanks so much for your company. Flora Atieno has been our sign language interpreter. We do this all over again tomorrow. See you then. Bye-bye.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
During this period and always, bank different by avoiding interest in all your transactions. If not now, when? Ensure that all your transactions are free from elements of uncertainty and gambling by only investing your money differently. Bank on strong partnerships where generated profits and risks are shared by both parties. Bank on well-being and prosperity. Bank different with Gulf African Bank. Call us on 0711 075 000 or SMS join to 21981. May God protect us. Ramadan